Shalom ubracha to the entire Nitzar family, and thank you for joining us this Tisha B'Av to try and get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu together. It is a schus and an honor to be joining the incredible program, and with Hashem's help, let's all try to open our hearts and do the best that we can to walk away with something powerful, something that can change us. Before we begin the program, I just want to mention that the very first Nitzar video went out Tisha B'Av 1 year ago. And since then, every single week, without fail, they send out amazing clips to be mechazek and to teach us all about the power of speech. That means that today is the first anniversary of this very, very chashuv organization. Now, in the short time since that first Nitzar video, Baruch Hashem b'siyata d'shmaya, we already reached 23 countries and impacted thousands and thousands of Yidden. The feedback has literally been incredible. Now, it's an amazing hashgacha that the Nitzar started on Tisha B'Av. Why? Because really the mission statement of Nitzar is answering the call and responding to the very thing that caused the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash. We all know that the Chafetz Chaim teaches that the coming of Mashiach depends on us. As the Zohar says, if we uphold the midah of Shalom, we will merit the coming of Mashiach. And the Chafetz Chaim explains that we can perfect the midah of Shalom only by distancing ourselves from sinas chinam and lashon hara. And Rabbi say this is Nitzar, training us, inspiring us, teaching us to get in control of this huge Yetzer Hara and finally do tshuva on what got us into this galus. I want you to imagine the following thing. Imagine tomorrow we were told that the time has finally come to rebuild the third Beis HaMikdash, and every single Yid has an opportunity to contribute something. Would anybody hesitate? Would anybody not give? I say it's $2,000. So $2,000? Of course we're going to give. We're going to run. Who wouldn't run to give whatever they can, just to have even the smallest share in the rebuilding of the Beis HaMikdash? And Rabbi Said the Chafetz Chaim teaches us something breathtaking. We are being given that opportunity right now. Hashem is not asking us for money. He is only asking us to remove sinas chinam from our hearts, to guard our speech from lashon hara, and to strengthen the midah of shalom. That is our contribution. That is our building fund. And that is how we can help bring the geula closer. May we all be zeicha to greet the Mashiach b'karev mamish. It is now my great pleasure to welcome Rabbi Joey Haber, who Be'ezras Hashem inspires so many with his beautiful and powerful shiurim.
1956 years since we last had a Beis HaMikdash. We're sitting here on Tisha B'Av, and we still don't have and are nowhere near where we need to be as a nation. What does it entail to get that Beis HaMikdash rebuilt? We don't have bricks. It's not going to be our gold or our silver. What's going to be the way we're going to rebuild it is if we are able to create an ahava from one end of Klal Yisrael to the other. And the way to do that is to rebuild with every word. That means every word we use, we need to use to rebuild. So all of the speakers you're going to hear today are going to hopefully give you tools and ideas of how powerful your words can be. You know, the pasuk says in Tehillim, Ani Shalom v'chi adaber. I am peace when I speak. What does it mean, I am peace when I speak? I saw a pirush from the Divrei Yoel. He says the word v'chi, the Gemara Rosh Hashanah says, has multiple different meanings. And the way I am peaceful is if my words know how to have multiple different meanings. That means I know how to crack a joke to this one, how to say something, a compliment to this one, how to be a listening ear to that one, how to say a word to the other one. Each person needs something different to be said. Just like the word v'chi could be used different ways when I am adaber, when I speak. Just like the word v'chi, when I speak differently in different scenarios, that's how I am shalom. The question is, how do you do this? And how do you do this with integrity, authenticity, and not just be a fake? You're saying one thing to one person, another thing to another person. So I'm going to give you a rule I've used. I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of groups of people that have gone through challenges, whether it's divorced women, or if it's fathers of people with special children, or almanas, or a person who's married for 15 years without kids. Young ladies that are not yet married the way they hope. What is the key? I don't know what to say. There's no rule book that says this is what you say to these people, this is what you say to those people. What is the key to be able to say something to this one, to that one? How do you build people with words? The answer is, and I think this is critical, is the vibe that comes across from you. When you speak to anybody. The vibe that needs to come out is I am not better than you. I don't care if I have more than you. I don't care if I'm firmer than you. I don't care if I'm smarter than you, more educated than you, wealthier than you, have bigger house than you, have better kids than you. It never means anything. You and me, we're the same. Literally, when I talk to a 10-year-old, you and me, we're the same. When you speak to someone who's going through a pain, it's in all likelihood, they're better than me. So the words that have to come across are you and me, we're the same. When you speak to someone, if there's a touch of condescending, if there's a touch of gaiva, if there's a touch of I know better, if there's a touch of the fact that Hashem likes me more than you, or I'm from the Besser mention, I'm from the lucky people, if there's a little touch of that, the recipient of your words hears it. If there's negativity, they hear it. But if we're all the same, it just happens to be Hashem today gave you a challenge, and maybe I have a challenge too, or maybe we both have a challenge, maybe they're the same, maybe they're different. It doesn't matter, we're the same. When you come in with that tzugang, when you come in with that approach, it makes everybody feel safe. It makes everyone feel comfortable, and everyone feel respected, and everyone feel okay. You don't know how powerful the tone of your words can be, and how much you can build or destroy with your words. Let me share with you an incredible story. This happened a number of years ago. This boy, his name was Yaakov. He was 19 years old. He was very sick in the hospital. He was on his deathbed. He told his father, he says, I know, Abba, I don't have much more time. His father said, Yaakov, what are you saying with davening? He says, I know the reality. He says, but at my Levi, I have one request. Please ask my 9th grade Rebbe to speak. If he asks you why I'm giving this, Yaakov goes, puts his hand in his pocket, and hands his father a folded piece of paper. Sure enough, the next day, Yaakov was nifter, and the father wanted to follow what his son requests, and he called the 9th grade Rebbe. He said, could you speak at the Levi? Some family members and the 9th grade Rebbe. Now, a few days later, they're sitting Shiva, and the Rebbe comes to Baby Menachem Oval. Maybe 5 or 6 kids from that class happen to be there because of Menachem Oval. He sits down, and he sits with the father, and he's talking, and finally asks the father a question. He says, I noticed that I was the only person outside of the family to speak. He says, I was your son's 9th grade Rebbe. I'm not his Rebbe now. Why'd you pick me? Father says, I'll tell you the truth, I don't know. All I know is this. My son gave me this. He pulls out, folded piece of paper, hands it to the Rebbe. The Rebbe unfolds the paper, he looks at the paper, and all of a sudden tears start to well up in his eyes, start to stream down his cheeks. Father says, Rebbe, what is it? What is it? The Rebbe says, let me tell you a story. He says, your son's 9th grade class was a very difficult class. A lot of infighting and cliques, and they were distracted, and it was crazy every day. And they were talking about each other and knocking each other, making fun of each other, putting each other down. He says, one day I walked into the classroom, I closed the door, I said, boys, we're not learning today. I want every single one of you to take out a piece of paper. And here's what you're going to do. Write down on your paper the name of every single boy in this class. And then, by each boy's name, write something beautiful about that boy. So Reuven had a piece of paper, and he writes down a compliment about Shimon, a compliment about Yitzchak, a compliment about Avraham, a compliment about Moshe, and a compliment about Yaakov. Moshe has a paper, he writes a compliment about Reuven, about Shimon, about Yitzchak. I told the boys, please send the papers to the front of the room. And they all brought the papers to me, and I neatly and carefully cut out each line that each boy wrote, and gave each boy his own paper. That means I made a piece of paper for Moshe of everything that every boy in the class said about him, and the same kind of paper for Reuven, and the same for Shimon, and the same for your son Yaakov. Your son kept that paper in his pocket his entire life. That paper that told him what his friends think of him. That paper that built him with every word. He kept it in his pocket till the day he died. And at that moment, all 6 boys put their hands in their pockets and they pulled out their paper. The paper that tells you you're good, you mean something, we're in this together. That paper was a paper that every boy kept with them. You don't understand how much your words mean. You don't understand the weight your words carry. Send a little compliment to this person. Say, lift up this person. Smile to this person. Say something to this person that acts like we're in this together, like we're equal. You don't know how it makes them feel. The world has so much pain. The world has so much sorrow. And there's so many people walking around the streets just wanting to know where they stand. Do people care about me? Am I relevant? Do I matter? Does Hashem love me? Does my spouse love me? Do my kids love me? Does Klal Yisrael even care about me? And when you walk by, you could literally rebuild them with every word. And if we across our nation start to do this, then we will build the Beis HaMikdash, not with bricks, not with gold, not with silver. We will build the Beis HaMikdash with our words.
Wow. Very powerful story. Thank you, Rabbi Haber. And in Mirz Hashem, we will be zeicha to build the Beis Hamikdash with our words. After all, we are an incredible nation. We now have the schus to hear from Rabbi Fishel Schachter, one of the most beloved Rabbanim, whose wisdom, warmth, and clarity captivate audiences and whose inspiring shiurim touch so many.
So here's the question. Sinas chinam, you've been hearing that since the first day you went to camp. What is sinas chinam? Do you know anyone that hates someone for nothing? This person hates his neighbor because he always parks in his driveway. This person hates his partner because when he wasn't looking, his partner told him that really the deal was, you know anyone that hates someone for nothing? Who? What does sinas chinam mean? So I used to be in a camp, and I was part of the Hanhola, and the pressure was grinding. There was a little shul next to the camp in this little town in the country, an old shul, and I used to go in there during the day. The shul officially had a library. It wasn't much of a library, but it was quiet. I needed a half hour of quiet. It was to me like Gan Eden. And I would walk in, open the creaking doors, and sit down over there, and I would work on some of my notes, or just close my eyes for a few minutes. And then I hear someone coming down the stairs. Oh no. And I can tell it's one of the locals, one of the few members of the shul. Now, he has every right to be here. As a matter of fact, he has more right to be here than me. I'm the guest. He's the member. And he walks in with a bunch of plastics. And I never knew how much noise plastics can make. And he plops himself down, like right next to me, you know what I mean? He doesn't want to give me any space. And he starts entering his bag, that's grinding into me. And I would get up and leave. But of course, I don't hurt him. Then he pulls out a coffee that he bought someplace. I never knew how annoying a coffee can be. He's trying to get the cover off. When he finally did, after shaking the coffee, some of the contents of the coffee graced my suit, my notes, everything around me. Of course, I just smiled at him. And I never realized how much noise you can make drinking a coffee. It's something like... I thought I'm going out of my mind. And again, I didn't want to embarrass him or walk out. And I just said, that's how it is. I said, I can't act. I came here for a little quiet. And then he turns to me and says, can I ask you a question? Yes. You do the story tapes? Sometimes. You know, I have a grandchild who's not well in the hospital, and my grandchild, she listens to your tapes all day. I said, what's your grandchild's name? I said, I know, I went to visit her once. You know, she knows like every single story you say. It's like you're throwing a lifeline to her. I said, really? And I'm talking to him, and we had this nice conversation. And he says, no, I don't want to bother you. No, it's okay. And I went back to doing what I was doing, sat there for another 20 minutes, and I realized I didn't hear a drop of noise from him. Nothing. Did he suddenly take a course on how to drink a coffee quietly? Did his plastic bag have some kind of a silencer on it? How come the noise stopped? And the answer is simple. When he was invading my privacy, this is my turf. He was annoying. He was making noise. Second, he said, wow, can't tell you what you're doing for me. And that made me feel good, and I felt a connection with him. I didn't hear any noise. Sometimes we think, and you see it in a classroom a lot, he's so annoying. He's so annoying. You know why he's so annoying? Because you have your friends and you're not allowing him into your circle. But guess what? If you take him in and he becomes part of your friends, and what he says is not annoying anymore. Sinas chinam is when we believe I have my turf and you stay out of it. Then you can list a whole, you can have charts and charts of reasons why you hate the person. Nonsense. If you really believe that the Rebbeinu Shem does shiduchim on this world, the Rebbeinu Shalom puts us together. When this person gave me those words of chizuk, I felt good. But more important than that, I realized, genius! What do you think? Hashem popped the shul up here and they're standing here for 200 years and you're just sitting over here to relax. It was made for your vacation. Hashem says, I arrange appointments. This is your customer. You're his customer. I'm your customer. And the same is true for every single person in our lives. I need you to make this connection. And once we believe in that hashgacha, then you say the right things. He says the right things. And guess what? Your words and his are going to rebuild. That little shul, wherever that is in that little town, is going to join all the little shuls in the world to build one big Beis Hamikdash, because of the point that we understand, and it's the Rebbeinu Shem that puts us together, and we have a responsibility for each other. No one hates anyone.
Thank you, Rabbi Schachter. What an awesome perspective on sinas chinam. Rabbi said there's so much to learn, so much to learn. Okay, it is now a true honor to introduce Rabbi Chiel Spiro, a beloved mechanech, a best-selling author and a master storyteller whose words have inspired countless Yidden through his powerful stories, his Torah insights, and heartfelt messages.
Today is Tisha B'Av, and today we commemorate the destruction of both Batei Mikdashos.
And we know that the second Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of sinas chinam, because of senseless hatred, because Yidden could not get along with one another, the way they spoke to each other, the way they heard each other through words. And we need to know today, more than ever, how very important it is for us to guard our tongues, to understand the power of our words, and to understand that if we're willing to make sacrifice, sometimes you have a geschmack, a piece of Lashon Hara, and you really want to share it, but you hold back, you refrain from saying it. Or sometimes someone needs to hear something good. It takes a little bit out of you to be able to overcome maybe your jealousy, or to overcome your shyness, or to just give someone else encouragement. But listen to this story, and it will teach us exactly what we should do. There was a Yid, Rabbi Yisrael Tausig. Rabbi Yisrael Tausig was known as the Beis Yisrael, not to be confused with the Beis Yisrael of Ger. He was known as the Beis Yisrael, and he had a very large, beautiful mishpacha of children who became Rabbeim, Rosh Yeshiva, Mashpiim throughout Eretz Yisrael and throughout the world. And Rabbi Yisrael had in his house a box. It was under lock and key, and inside he had something clearly that was very valuable. And one day, his very curious grandchild was looking to see if perhaps he can open it, and as his grandfather disappeared to a chasana, lo and behold, he noticed that it was unlocked. He removed the lock, he opened it up, and out he pulls a paper. It's just one singular piece of paper, and on the top of it is a phrase, and on the bottom of it is 50 names. So strange. He didn't know what it means. On the top of it said, Hineni Arev l'chol hachoismim shehem ubnei mishpachtam yetzu min hamilchama biriyim ushleimim shalom beli pega. I am an Arev. I'm a co-signer for anybody and a guarantor for anybody who signs on this paper that they and their family will exit the war healthy and complete without so much as a scratch. When was this from? What was it all about? He put it back in the box and he had to discover how. So, everybody has an uncle that they can ask. So he asked one of his uncles. And I looked in Zadie's box. He says, you looked in the box? He says, yeah, don't tell anybody. But I'm just curious. What's that paper all about? He says, oh, it's precious. He says, tell me, what's it all about? He says, let me tell you a story. In 1948, the Jordanian legionnaires were bombing throughout Yerushalayim. It was a pachad neir, it was terrifying. And at that time, Reb Chaim Brim, a young man, who would later on become a real tzaddik, a Meir Sharim Yid, the Baal Tefillah in Square for the Yom Neiraim, somebody who was known far and wide, wonderful person, incredible human being. And his wife, Nebuch, Hindel, was very sick. They had 4 little pitzlach, 4 little kids, and he's in a hospital. The doctor says to him, Rabbi, listen, we did everything we can. I'm so sorry. She has 48 hours to live. 48 hours? Please, you might. He says, we did everything we can. He had no choice. He runs to the Dushinsky Rebbe and he says, Rebbe, you have to help me. He says, what's wrong, Reb Chaim? He says, my wife Hindel, she's so sick. He starts to daven. He says, Reb Chaim, I don't think I can poyalize. I don't think my tefillas will be able to accomplish what we need them to. But if you go to Reb Gedalia Moshe of Zvil to the Zvil Rebbe, I think he'll be able to make it happen. He goes to Reb Gedalia Moshe of Zvil to the Zvil Rebbe, and the Zvil Rebbe, after trying to daven, says, I'm sorry, I don't see the Yeshua. He goes back to the Dushinsky Rebbe and he tells him the Zvil Rebbe said he can't. And the Dushinsky Rebbe tells Reb Chaim, he says, I am telling you to go back and tell Reb Gedalia Moshe b'gzeiras mora da'asra, I am decreeing upon him as the Rav that he must add a name to your wife, and in Yitz Hashem, Yeshua will come. He goes back to the Zvil Rebbe, and the Zvil Rebbe says, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe, efshir, possibly, if you can get 50 people to give a year of their life, maybe the Yeshua can come. Rebbe, a year? Who's giving a year of their life? And he says, I will give them a guarantee that they'll survive the war. And he writes on the paper, Hineni Oreb l'chol hachoismim, shehem ubnei mishpachtam yetzu min hamilchama birim ushleimim shalom beli pega. He says, show this to them. He doesn't know where to go. He's been dodging bombs all day. He runs to the first place, to Miklat, a tremendous Miklat in Yerushalayim. And it's chaos, and there's little kids screaming, and there's old people in wheelchairs, and people are running, and it's a bahala. He doesn't know where to begin, and he stands in the middle of the room, he closes his eyes, and he says, give out! Yidin! Hatzilu! Save me! All of a sudden it's quiet. A Yid comes over and he says, Reb Chaim, what's this? He says, my wife Hindel, she's deathly ill, and I need 50 people to give a year of their life to her. He says, Reb Chaim, we don't know if we're going to survive the night. Listen to the shaking of the buildings. Zvil Rebbe guaranteed it. And a line forms, 50 people, 100 people. You can only take 50 signatures. The Zvil Rebbe said 50. He runs back to the Zvil Rebbe, and the Zvil Rebbe looks at it, smiles. Yidden are willing to sacrifice? And he takes out a pen, and he adds his name as the 51st signature. He goes running back to the doctor, and the doctor's standing there, and he says, Rabbi, I don't know how it happened, But over the last few hours, your wife has had the most extraordinary recovery. It's remarkable. Zila Rebbe added a name. He added the name Ruchama to Rebbetzin Brim, and Rebbetzin Brim lived 51 more years. When we as Yid are willing to sacrifice, who wants life? Oyev yomim lirais tov, you want to see the goodness? The nitzor l'shoincha meiros v'asecha midaber mirma. Guard, nitzoyer, guard your tongues. But it takes sacrifice. You know what? That sacrifice guarantees life. It will give life. Because not only did the 51 years get added to Rebbetzin Brim, but every individual who signed, they and their families not only exited the war, Birim Ushleimim Shalom B'li Pega, but they had long, illustrious lives of children and grandchildren. If we want life, if we want to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash, if we want to bring back the existence that once was, it takes sacrifice. But it will give us nitzchias. It will give us everlasting life. The word Mila, if you switch around the letters, is Yahaloim. It is a diamond. Every word you share is a diamond. We don't give away diamonds freely. And what would we do to gather diamonds? To be able to share our diamonds with others. We have diamonds, and those diamonds are found in our word. Realize how precious they are. Mitz Hashem, it will bring us to Binyan Bayis Shlishi, Bimheira, V'yomeinu, Amen.
Wow, what a story and what a lesson. The power of sacrifice and what we can gain from it. Okay, Rabbi Isai. So we just heard 3 powerful ideas. Now what? What are we walking away with? It's always important. What is actually going to change? So let's, b'siyata d'shmaya, get some clarity over here. Number 1, we all have to understand that every single one of us is needed to rebuild the Beis HaMikdash. And if we're needed, that means that we have a job to do. What is that job? To start working on Shmiras Halashon, to be in control of our speech and realize the power it has. Whether it's joining Nitzar every week, getting their clip, signing up, whether it's starting a chabura in Hilchos Shmiras Halashon, maybe going through another sefer or a sefer on the topic and writing notes, highlighting something, finding a chavrusa to learn 5 minutes a day. It doesn't matter what. It matters that it's something, that you're doing something, and something real. Something that you're actually going to do and that it's going to change you. Because Rabbi said we have no idea what one small action can accomplish. And I want to finish with this. Imagine today on Tisha B'Av. Today, you make a Kabbalah, a real Kabbalah, not just inspiration, but you make a real change. You decide, that's it, I am going to be better. I'm going to work on this. I'm not going to let this day just pass, all this inspiration just pass. In Shemayim, after 120 years, imagine they tell you that because of you, because of that one decision, the Beis HaMikdash was rebuilt. You were the final straw that ended the 2,000-year gullus. You. And Rabbi said this is 100% possible. It can be you. We have no idea. Or imagine the opposite. Chas v'shalom, after 120 years, they show us in Shemayim, if you would have just been makabel one small thing, Shmiras Halashon, that Tisha B'Av, that you heard that thing from Nitzar, Mashiach would have come that day. Can you imagine the regret that we would have? Rabbi saying, let's not live with that regret. Let's make the move now. It's an amazing thing to think about. One person, one decision, one action can really change everything. So let's be machazik ourselves on Shmiras Halashon. Let's learn the depth and the power of speech, and let's bring it into our daily lives in a positive way by bringing each other up, learning how to talk in a way that brings each other up. We're one nation, and Hashem will see that we're trying. Hashem will see our achdus, and b'schus that, we'll all be zeichet to see the Beis HaMikdash rebuilt and the coming of Mashiach b'mheira v'yameinu. Rabbi Isai, let's rebuild one word at a time.